Hey YouTube, it's IC. Welcome to the 234th episode of BestTechInfo and Rumors. In today's video, we're going to be discussing not only iOS 8.4.1, the TaiG jailbreak patching firmware, but also the iPhone 6s and 6s Plus, as well as the rumored iPad Pro, iPad Mini 4, and iPad Air 3. Alright, to start off, I'm going to be holding a new $100 Amazon or iTunes gift card giveaway. It will be the winner's choice, so be sure to rate this video up, stick around to the end for instructions, and with that said, let's get straight into things. So talking about iOS 8.4.1 first, the firmware that patches the TaiG Untethered jailbreak, which went into beta stages approximately 1 month ago, was released officially to the public on Thursday. So unfortunately, as confirmed by Apple's security notes for iOS 8.4.1, it patches not only 8 vulnerabilities from the TaiG Untethered 8.3 and 8.4 jailbreak, but it also patches a number of vulnerabilities exploited by past jailbreak utilities, including both Pangu and even Evasion. And at this point, you might be wondering, well, how is that possible? All of those jailbreaks have been patched for some time now. Well, essentially, usually, when Apple patches or closes a jailbreak, they'll only address a few or a couple of the vulnerabilities that the tool exploits. Well, this time around, they weren't playing games. They closed pretty much all of the vulnerabilities TaiG uses in their latest Untethered utility for 8.4, and they even addressed some of the exploits from the past. So this is a pretty big deal, guys. And TaiG was even quoted as saying the following on Twitter: Apple has released iOS 8.4.1. TaiG jailbreak team is credited by Apple for discovering 8 vulnerabilities, besting everyone else. With a follow-up saying, quote, since Apple patched 8 vulnerabilities of TaiG, we suggest you not update to 8.4.1. You can visit TaiG for jailbreak tool on 8.4. And what's really interesting is that, like I said before, we knew 8.4.1 was released and that it patched the jailbreak back on Thursday. So why did TaiG wait until today, Sunday, to actually issue those tweets? Well, it's possible that they were testing some of the vulnerabilities that they had saved on iOS 8.4.1 to see if they could swing it and to see if they could jailbreak the firmware prior to iOS 9's release next month. Ultimately, though, they probably decided that the minor release wasn't really worth the time that it would take to actually create an entirely new jailbreak, since Apple did close those 8 vulnerabilities from the past TaiG tool. So we won't really see a new jailbreak until at least iOS 9. We'll talk about that in just a second, but first, if you're on 8.4.1, do not lose hope. You can still jailbreak by downgrading. So yes, you are able to, as of recording this video, downgrade from iOS 8.4.1 to iOS 8.4 and then re-jailbreak with TaiG. For additional information and instructions, actually check out the card that I should have linked to on your screens now. I'll also have it in the annotations and down below in the more info. But essentially, do not wait if you're on 8.4.1, because once Apple stops signing iOS 8.4, you will no longer be able to downgrade back to the firmware. The only reason that they're signing it now is because they always continue to sign the past firmware following a new release for an undisclosed period of time to ensure that if there's an issue with the firmware, users can go back. So right now, the window is still open, but again, that could change at any point. And quickly, as far as the next Untethered jailbreak utility is concerned, we won't see anything until iOS 9, which will be released next month, so it won't be that long of a wait. And again, you can still downgrade, but you may be wondering, well, isn't iOS 9 considered, quote, rootless from Apple? Well, yes, it kind of is. That's the internal name for the security improvements found in iOS 9, but that doesn't mean that we won't be able to achieve root access or jailbreak iOS 9. It just means that the entire process will be substantially more difficult, and we won't really know for sure until teams announce what they've been working on thus far. Now, we know that Pangu, as well as a new team dubbed Keen, will actually enter the scene, and they'll try to jailbreak and collaborate with Pangu to create a new Untethered utility. And let's not forget, we also have TaiG. So we have potentially 3 teams who will be working on the next Untethered jailbreak, and we may see something actually sooner than even expected. So be sure to stay tuned. I will keep you guys completely updated on everything related to iOS 9 jailbreaking, as well as Keen, Pangu, and TaiG. So just be sure to click the subscribe button down below next to my channel name if you have yet to. Again, I will let you guys know immediately anytime anything happens. Next up, let's talk about Apple's next generation devices, which, like iOS 9, will also be released next month. Supposedly, the 6s and and 6S Plus will be revealed on the week of September 7th, probably around September 9th, which is actually the exact same date that the iPhone 6 and 6 Plus were both announced. And if that's the case, following previous trends of various iPhones and their release schedules, that means that the iPhone 6S and 6S Plus will be available for pre-order starting September 11th, and they'll actually ship and be available to purchase in stores on September 25th. Again, this is just one of many new recent rumors. I definitely recommend watching my all-new iPhone 6S playlist that contains everything you need to know related to both devices. I'll have that linked to on your screens now via card format. But one of the most important upgrades for the iPhone 6S is expected to be Force Touch technology, which was first introduced actually in the Apple Watch, and it's also found in the trackpads of the new MacBook models. The next device Apple is targeting for the technology is the iPhone 6S. Now, one of my recent videos in the aforementioned playlist actually goes over 4 possible scenarios for Force Touch and how it may actually be intertwined with iOS. It's actually a report that originated from 9to5Mac. They're usually very spot on when it comes to predicting these things. They have an unnamed source. Check it out if you're interested to see how Force Touch may reshape the way we use iPhones. And also at the event, which again is rumored for September 9th, we may receive a glimpse at the first Apple TV hardware refresh since the company introduced the 3rd gen in 2012. It's expected to feature a new and completely revised touch-based remote, a full-fledged app store, overall general improvements, and unfortunately no 4K support. And also, speaking of unfortunately, Apple isn't expected to actually introduce their rumored TV streaming service until 2016. So bummer on that front, but at least we may see a new Apple TV soon. As far as Apple's iPad models are concerned, there is the rumored iPad Pro. Let's talk about that now. So according to the report that pegged the date for the iPhone 6S and 6S Plus announcement on September 9th, they state that the iPad Pro may be a quote wild card. In other words, it may or it may not show up at the event. At any rate though, the rumored device will feature a 12-inch display, which will significantly dwarf the current largest iPad being 9.7 inches. And as far as rumors for the iPad Pro go, we have reports suggesting that it will feature an embedded stylus, which is kind of on the crazy end of things, all the way up to the more feasible being the implementation of Force Touch, which of course does make sense. Next, we have the iPad Mini 4, which is expected to adopt the current design of the iPad Air 2, which of course is significantly slimmed down in comparison to the original iPad Air, which ironically enough actually took the design from the iPad Mini. So yes, the iPad Mini hasn't been updated with its own design in a while now. For the iPad Mini 3, Apple basically just implemented Touch ID. Well, this time it looks like Apple's trying to set things straight by adapting that iPad Air 2-like design in the iPad Mini 4, as well as an updated processor, hopefully at least the A8X, 2 GB of RAM, and again, possibly Force Touch. But what about the iPad Air 3? Well, there's actually an interesting report from DigiTimes. Before I get further though, DigiTimes definitely has a sketchy track record when it comes to rumors, so it may or it may not be true. But anyway, they state that the iPad Air 3 won't see the light of day this time around because Apple will be focused on the iPad Pro as well as the iPad Mini 4, and if the iPad Mini follows suit with past refreshes, then it'll just adopt the current A8X processor that we see in the iPad Air 2 right now. So that way it will bring both of those iPads up to spec, and it'll give them more time to actually introduce some killer features in the iPad Air 3. Personally though, I do hope that we see a new refresh version of the iPad Air this year, especially with Force Touch starting to make its rounds through Apple's devices. Alright, and finally, before we wrap up and talk about the giveaway, Gomentum Station is a 2,100-acre former naval base turned test track for autonomous cars and autonomous driving. But why is that interesting? Well, let's briefly talk about Apple's rumored EV or electric vehicle dubbed Project Titan internally. Gomentum Station's director said that Apple is interested in using their facility, nothing more, nothing less, and they'll probably use it for what they're testing, again, a supposed electric car. And I've said it once, I'll probably say it again, I really do hope that if Apple decides to pursue this project, that they'll consider working with Tesla, and it just makes sense with Tesla's lower cost Model 3 coming up here in a few short years. Now, let's talk about the giveaway. You have the potential to win a $100 Amazon or a $100 iTunes gift card. It will be your choice if you're chosen. All you have to do is just go to the link down below in the more info and sign up using your email address. Essentially, it's called Un-enroll Me, and it basically just finds all of the email subscriptions that you're subscribed to, some of which you might not even have known about, and it will give you the option to unsubscribe from them so you don't see them and so they don't clutter your inbox. because even though services like Gmail do an awesome job at recognizing spam, some of the things that actually aren't spam you might not want to see. For example, if you receive newsletters from Apple, Google, and GameStop and you're only interested in the Apple and Google emails, you can automatically unsubscribe from the GameStop email newsletters with this service. It's just overall an awesome feature that I think should be implemented into mail services by default. It's completely safe. None of your email credentials are stored. All you have to do is just input your email address and password. That's it. And using that link will do two things. It will not only get you on your way to winning a $100 gift card, but it will also significantly help the channel out. I really do appreciate it, guys. And once you've signed up for that service, just leave the unique part of your email address down below in the comments section with something else so it doesn't get flagged as spam. For example, if my email address is iCrackUriDevice@example.com, just leave the iCrackUriDevice portion. Don't leave the example.com part. We don't need that. We just need the unique part for verification purposes to ensure that you actually did sign up. And if you entered my previous giveaway, which was very similar, and you already signed up with your email account, then just be sure to use the spare account that you have on hand. If you don't happen to own a spare account, you can create a new Gmail. It takes a matter of minutes. It's very easy, and you can possibly win a $100 gift card in doing so. Now, I really do hope you guys like this video. Again, just be sure to check out the cards for everything you need, also the annotations, and down below in the more info, I'll have links for you guys everywhere. And if you want to be updated even more often, such as when I release new videos similar to this one, covering things like 8.4.1, iOS 9, jailbreaking, and the iPhone 6s, just be sure to like me on Facebook, follow me on Twitter, add me in one of your circles inside of Google+, and follow me on Instagram at ICUID. And until next time, this is ICU, signing out.